Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to February. This is a podcast today for the month of February. So, here we go. You can always find the podcast on iTunes. You can find it in Stitcher. You can find it on TuneIn Radio. You can find it on Spotify. Now you can stream it right from Spotify. You can just add it to your playlist, and you can also find it in Google Play. If you are on Facebook, please come and visit me at Emmett's Billionaire Lifestyle, or just search for the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. It will show up. There's no doubt about that. Also, you can go to emmettmuckles.com. There you can leave a comment, but also, let me go back. So any one of those platforms, particularly iTunes, here's what I am asking. Here's what I'm asking the universe and you for. To go there, rate the podcast on iTunes, and leave me a comment. Whether, leave me something positive, please. Give it as many stars as you can, and I will be forever in your gratitude. I will just put it forth to you. But today's topic is, what is right with you? Oftentimes in our life, we have these things that come up, and particularly we have these anomalies that manifest in our life, and they manifest in the arena of identifiable as a problem or something that is not necessarily positive. Here's where we have to flip it. So instead of saying, what's wrong with you? And I'm talking about yourself, because sometimes we're our own worst critic, and we tend to focus in on the things that are not positive, which means the things that are negative. And we should be concentrating on the things that we do well and the things that we aspire to do better. See how we're flipping up the language of the mind, so that you can auto-tune yourself to the higher vibration, the higher consciousness. Oftentimes we're looking and comparing ourselves to the outside world, and we will see someone who is doing something really well, and we will aspire to that, but we will only see the negative or the lack thereof as we sit in our own personal station. We need to flip that narrative internally. We need to get our Trinity, our mind, our body, our spirit. We need to get it on one plane. So instead of saying, what's wrong with me, you should concentrate on what's right with you. For instance, let's go to the arena of weight. That's a big conversation, no pun intended, in today's society. And with that, we tend to focus on those areas that we need to work on as being wrong. And there really is no such thing as wrong, long as it doesn't hurt anyone, long as it doesn't cause harm, long as it doesn't take you to a lower vibration. So here's where we should focus on. So let's say some areas like your stomach. You're like, there's something wrong with my stomach. There's nothing wrong with your stomach. Yes, you have a belly. What's right with it is that it's getting smaller, or you want it to be smaller. And that's how you have to think on it. I am getting better. I am getting smaller. That's what's right with me, is the fact that I am working on a goal, and there's nothing wrong with you. You're just transitioning from one state to another. It's really that simple. And you can apply this theory to so many different areas in your life. You could say, I don't know how to do this particular program. I don't know how to podcast. What's wrong with me? Because I just can't figure it out. No. And here's the other thing too. when we move to an endeavor, we always start from the middle or the finish line, and we should start from the beginning. Even if you already have some acumen for something, you always should go back to the starting line. Think of it this way. Whenever you see a track and field race, even though these people are very accomplished racers, very accomplished runners, they always start at the beginning. So that goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about with thinking about what's wrong with you. Just because you don't measure up to something else, start at the beginning and move your way forward and always think, I'm getting better, because that's what's right with you. Then you can look at your accomplishments and understand what is right with you, what is good with you. You know, there's a thing in the African American community, when we greet each other, we always say, what's good? There used to be this statement like, that's bad, meaning that's good. That's kind of a self-talk, because even though you say that word, implied the energy behind it says that's good. I mean, that was a thing in the 70s and 80s. Hey man, that's a really bad pair of shoes you got on. But it was taken as, that's a really good pair of shoes. So that's one of those statements internally where you internalize it, take something that could be construed as a low vibration and move it to a high vibration. And that's what I'm imploring you to do. Instead of worrying what's wrong with you, start looking at what's right with you. So like I said, you go into the health food store or you're trying to lose some weight, that's what's right with you, because you're aiming towards a goal. You know, what caused you to go after the goal, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just motivation. So look at what's right with you and stop asking what's wrong with you. Welcome to the podcast for February. Podcast a day for February. This is the love month. And so we are going to promote good things that you can decipher and add into your life. We're going to pick apart some topics so that you can move towards the higher vibration in your life and you can make your life even better than it is. Just think about this. If you look at your life, you have 365 days in a 1 year period that you can make changes every day. And you don't even have to make really big changes. What you can do is you can try to make itty bitty changes to move towards a goal for great changes. So for instance, in 365 days out of the year to make 100%, and I believe my math is right, it might be a little off, all you got to do is try to increase, you have to move forward 0.27%. 0.27%. If you do 0.27% better per day, in a year, you will be 100% better at whatever you really focus intently on. So by 0.27%, you can increase your good. Remember that. Also, it is very important for you to sit down and be with yourself. And what I mean by that, meditate. Just sit down and be quiet. If your kids are too noisy, show them how to meditate too. Show them the practice that it's good to just sit there and be quiet. Listen to your thoughts, quiet those thoughts so that you can let God speak to you. Because in prayer is when we speak to the universal God. When we meditate is when God speaks to us. Love yourselves, appreciate yourself, and do the same to others. Treat them as you would like to be treated, with justice. Till next time, peace.